Alrighty, hello and welcome. I'm going to be making a video on the Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive transfer case actuator. Basically taking it apart, explaining its function, showing how you might be able to fix your vehicle and get it in or out of 4-wheel drive, just basically repair the 4-wheel drive system in general. This is assuming you've already sort of dissected the front diff actuator and soldered the connections in there to that little motor. That's what a lot of the forums say to do first. In my case, I had done that already and did not get any success from it. So if you're at this video, I would like to apologize and say it's all gonna be okay, because if you found your way here, you're either an interested researcher or more than likely you're really struggling to fix your Tacoma, your 4-wheel drive. So without talking anymore, let's start getting into it. So this machine is going to be mounted to the engine, or to the transfer case, just underneath the vehicle, like this, about in this orientation. The transfer case is going to be right about here. We'll take a look under the vehicle in a little bit, but it's mounted with 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3. And so let's just assume you've already got it off, because it's not too hard and there are videos on removing it. However, if you remove it, you will not be taking this rod with you. The rod will stay in the transfer case because it is locked in there on this end. Somewhere along this end, it'll be stuck in the transfer case. So to get it off, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to approach, obviously, take these 1, 2, 3 electrical connections off. Take them out. Then head on over to this triangle bad boy right here. I've already got it loosened up. You can take a Phillips to it, or you can take an 8mm socket. Everything in this video is already going to be just loose. It's all just hand tightened. This is my old one, by the way. I had to order a new one. And there's also one more thing, really important actually. Sorry, the lighting is terrible. Right on this side, right here, this little nipple looking thing, there's a hose, a vacuum hose that hooks up to that. Mine was disconnected, and I had been 4-wheel driving through deep water, mud, all that stuff. So that is what actually fried my whole deal here. That hose came disconnected and got water inside this machine, and it actually looks a lot better now than it did, because I tried to salvage it before I bought another one for $500, and I was not able to salvage it. So you can take this little triangle off. There's a little bit of adhesive, or not adhesive, can't even think of the name of it. You know what I'm talking about, but not a biggie. So you're gonna be looking at this, and when it's on the vehicle under load, it can be a bit of a pain to get out. Try not to damage it. I like to take these sort of things and grab that gear. That came out pretty easily. Like I said, it might be a little bit more difficult when it's under load. So bam, you got that gear out, and now there's nothing locking in this rod to the transfer case, so you're going to be able to slide the actuator right off, and this is just going to be sticking out from the transfer case. That's fine, don't sweat it. And this is the new rod. I had to order a new one of these, $500. I'll try to link that in the bio. And but yeah, this is my new one because I couldn't take the old one out, so that is still inside the transfer case. So we'll just set that aside for now. And so bang, you got the you pulled it off. You got it off. Here we go. We'll take it to the bench. I'm gonna throw the gear and the triangle back on right now, just because it's not really that important that I have it off, because what we're going to really be looking at, and what a lot of people seem to fail to understand, is the action on the other side of this bad boy, which I am going to explain. And I appreciate your patience in this video. I'm trying to do as few takes as possible. You would not believe the mount that I have right now. I basically got a cardboard box with a roll of duct tape on it with a gardening glove the other one of these bad boys stuffed in it just to hold my camera up, so trying to mess with my phone as little as possible. Okay, so we're on the other side here, and this is where the magic happens, really. These are going to be, I think, 10s. Yeah, these are 10s. Again, everything's hand tightened. These are nice long bolts. They got a long way to go, but bang. Alright, set that guy there. I'm gonna move a little bit more into the shot, hopefully. Yeah, I think that's good. Sorry, probably not gonna be any editing in this video. It's just gonna be long form, but you know what? This is gonna be worth your time if this fixes your problem. Saving yourself a $3,000 dealership job to, you know, fix it yourself. So bang, you got those off. Ba-ba. This looks really complicated, and it is in a little, in a way, but there's a way that we can explain it. So me and my buddy, we cracked the code. So I'm trying to think of how I want to orient this to explain it. I guess this will do. I like it like this. So when we crack it open, we see all these sensors, and this was all rusted, corroded, destroyed. Really, it was horrific on the inside here, from the water damage. And so me and my buddy, we tried to sand everything down and solder these connections, try to salvage this whole deal here, this whole circuit, but it didn't work. We ultimately just couldn't. So but it looks a lot better now than it did. It's a little bit yellow still. Yeah, we spent a whole day trying to save it. But what's going on here is essentially we got three. I'm going to use a pointer. We have three paths in here. We have this path on the outside here in this ring. We have this middle path. Got some grease on the screwdriver there. This middle path. And then this internal path, this innermost path. All right. And not coincidentally, we have three of these like sensor springs. All right. And what goes on here, this spins and moves the rod in and out of the transfer case. All right. So this receives electrical signal and it spins via this motor right here. So there's a motor in here. I could take this off and show you. I didn't really have to deal with it that much, but essentially these, sorry, this lighting is not the best. These teeth line up with this gear and spins. And what happens when this spins is that gear back in here is spinning. So when I spin this, that gear right now is spinning. I'll put the rod back in a little bit and move the rod in and out just with this. So there's three different positions. If you've watched another video, he explains that when your transfer case rod is all the way in to the transfer case, you're in 2 high. When it's in the middle, it's in 4 high, and when it's all the way out of the transfer case, it's in 4 low. So let's suppose that you get a new transfer case, right? Or a new transfer case actuator, right? This one's fried. Maybe yours is fried. Maybe your hose came off just like mine. If it looks nasty inside, you're probably going to need a new one. So let's suppose you got a new one. Now, you're trying to put it on the vehicle, but you don't know what position it needs to be in. Let's say your vehicle is stuck in 4 high, right? But you don't know what the transfer case actuator is going to come in because, yeah, you don't really know what this is set to. It's all assembled, and it could be set to 2 high, 4 low, 4 high. You don't really know. And you don't want to, put it on the vehicle when this thinks it's in 4 high and the vehicle is actually in, 4 low or something. You kind of get what I'm saying, I think. So the way that we determine what drive this needs to be set to, well, we know what the drive needs to be set to on our truck. Let's say I take my actuator off and I'm in 4 high. So that would mean that, let's see, I want to prop this up like this so you can kind of see inside of it a little bit. Sorry for that. Let's see. You get a good angle on that. Okay, you get a decent angle on that. Look closely. So these go together like, somehow. What happens is this outer spring right here, this outer sensor, goes on this outer path. And the middle goes in the middle, and the innermost goes on the innermost. So when the vehicle is in too high, right? So this, I kind of forget the orientation of how this is, but I don't think it's too important. When the vehicle's in too high, this outermost spring here is going to be on plastic right there. All right, and the other two sensors are going to be on metal. And that's how the vehicle knows that it's in too high. This outermost sensor will be on plastic. It won't be like sending signal. And the other two will be. Or maybe it is on the metal. And it has a way of deducting that that's on the metal and it takes a different path. I don't really know exactly. But it's not really that important. Because when you go to 4 high, boom, the middle is on plastic. So it probably is that the outer is on plastic as well in 2 high. But when you go to 4 high, this is when the rod is in the middle position. The middle spring here goes to plastic, and the outside ones are on metal.
Hot dogs are ready.
Okay, thanks. That's okay. Hot dogs are ready, says Mom. And then when we go to 4 low, we come all the way back around. This continues to spin. And now, bang, we're back, and we're in 4 low, and now the outermost is back on plastic, and the middle and the inside are on metal again. And so, if my vehicle is in 4 high, like we said for this example, which is exactly what I got stuck in for months, I need to make sure that this new actuator that I just bought is in 4 high. So I can put it on the vehicle and the computer and everything inside the truck is all on the same page. So what we do to make sure of that, let me reassemble this really quickly, or let me just reorient myself here. There's only one way it can go. It's not like that. Cat on the loose, cat on the loose. Alright, so it goes like this, and then boom, on the vehicle like that. So if we need to get it into 4 high, what I can do is I can see, okay, man, it's like dyslexia with this thing. I always get confused with how it needs to be oriented, right? So 4 high, that means that this middle sensor is going to be lined up with that plastic right there. And if we look at that plastic, I'm going to do my best to, okay. That plastic is just, if I line a straight edge on it, the camera angle is just, essentially this plastic is just a little bit to the right of center of this bolt here, of this bolt hole. So I know that this bolt hole lines up right here on the actuator when I put it together, god dang it, it's always like this. So bang, so that hole, you'll know a lot more when you're doing it yourself. I hope this isn't too confusing, but so bang, I need to line this middle sensor up just to the right of that hole there, because I know that that's where this is. Just to the right of that hole, just to the right of center there. Now, this is ready to be put back together, essentially, in 4 high. It can be tricky. You don't want to be a little bit off and have it on metal and screw it up. So what you can do is you can kind of mark where this lines up at. So you can, maybe put a little mark like right here. And then you can stick it on there and mark where that is on here, and then draw, get a ruler, a straight edge, and measure that out to the line on there. There are various ways you can do it, but that's the idea. Let's say you're stuck in 4 low. Bang, we just go all the way to the right. That's, or all the way, what is that? You know, you get the point. You go all the way. I think that's, assuming that's the right orientation. Oops. That'd be counterclockwise. So, or, you know, if you're stuck in too high, bang, right? So that's essentially how this internal diagram sort of circuit works, right? These sensors hit metal or plastic, send signals back, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm trying to think of what else there is to talk about with that. Actually, I want to show you right now just how the gear moves the, whoa, I almost knocked my mount over. Just how the gear moves the rod in and out of the actuator, just because it might be good to just help visualize that type of thing. And then in a minute here we'll look at under the vehicle, and I'll show you some useful things to remember when you're messing with the vehicle. I can't remember what I did with my 8mm socket. Bummer, dude. Anyway, we're gonna pull this gear out, throw the rod in, and now we're gonna wiggle that gear back in there. And it definitely is a very precise gear. Okay, boom. So check this out. It's pretty neat, honestly. When I move this gear here, the rod goes in and out of the transfer case. And that's how this all works. The spinning of this gear, right? That's generated by this motor spinning that little you know, whatever it's called. That spins that, ba-bang, this sensor moves along, and yeah, you get the point. The gear fell out, that's fine. So that is essentially how that works. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else to cover right now while I have this here. Otherwise, I think it'll be time to go under the vehicle and show you where it is. Again, there's another really good video out there that I should show you, where the only difference is he can hammer that rod in and out of his transfer case, but that's because he's working on an old Tundra. And if you have, I don't know the year that it swapped over, neither does he, but the newer vehicles, my truck is an 06, okay? So my truck's an 06, and I can't hammer the rod in and out of the transfer case like that because it's locked in. On the inside of the transfer case, there's some sort of locking mechanism which makes sure that it stays in the designated drive. So life would have been a lot easier if I could have just hammered this rod in and out of the transfer case like that. But I can't, and that's okay. So let's say we need it to be in 4 high. I'll do this really quickly. A lot of you might just be skipping through this. That's all good. Waiting to see under the vehicle. And there's one really important note about when you're mounting it back onto the vehicle, and it relates to the gear. You can't put that gear in until after you've tightened it down, and I'll show you what I mean back on the vehicle. But let us take a trip and go lay on the rough rocks of the front yard under my truck to take a look. So I'm actually just going to keep this filming. Just going to keep it going. I'll take this bad boy with me. Sorry, it's all rocky. I got no mount. I'm all unprofessional. Here's my truck. Gotta love it. Yep. So here we go. So there she is. There she is. You got one mount right up near that electrical connection. There's one mount, and then 2 and 3. Three electrical connections, and then that triangle with the gear in it is right there. So when you're when you're remounting this to the vehicle, what I was doing mistakenly is, so there's that rod, so here's my transfer case, big old boy. That rod is coming out of there into here, and what I was mistakenly doing was I was sticking that rod in there, and then I would put the gear in there, and then I would crank these down, bang, bang, and then bang, up on top over there. And it worked once, and then it got jammed, and we realized that the gear was being like, because once you mount this, there's a solid couple centimeter gap until you tighten it down. That's when it really locks down. So long story longer, you need to sorry, drawing a blank. You need to tighten all these down before you put the gear in there, and it's gonna be harder to put the gear in there. It's gonna be a very, very tight fit, but it's gonna be the right fit, because if you put the gear in there before you tighten these down, you're gonna be tightening that gear down, or you're gonna be tightening this whole machine down and squeezing that gear against that rod, and that's just, I mean, I'm lucky I didn't break anything on this new actuator, but yeah, once I saw that the inside of here was all, and here's my vacuum hose, the $500 vacuum hose disconnection that I will never mistake again. So I mean, I can't remember what I was gonna say. I don't think it's too important, but let's get out of here and head back to the garage, see if there's any final notes to make. It's been long enough, 22 minutes. I hope I got everything across. If there's any comments, I'm pretty active on YouTube, so, I mean, this video will be up for years though, so. Here's my mount, by the way. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been putting this video off for long enough. It's about time I make it. I hope I can help anybody. Any last notes about this? I can't think of anything really. If there's any questions, I'll try to respond to them, as long as I'm like, you know, still kicking. Oh, here's my 8mm. Right on. Other than that though, yeah, basically once you're taking it off, take off 1, 2, 3 bolts, and then you take this bad boy off. You can use Phillips or an 8, and then just get in there with, I like these kind of pliers. These have worked best for the gear, but really any kind works. Try not to damage the gear when you're getting it out. And I think that's about it. I mean, yeah, I've drugged this on long enough. I just don't want to leave anything out. I've been putting this video off for months, so it's been months since I've actually looked at this thing. So, good to reunite with it and reflect on how terrible of a couple months it was when my truck was out of commission and I literally didn't have the money to take it in. Had to figure it out myself. Me and my buddy, we cracked the inside of this. So there's a lot of rumors about, you know, you can't adjust the position of the transfer case actuator, but blah blah blah. None of that's true. You can adjust the position of the actuator. You can order a new one if you know, if you do order a new one, you pray to God that was your problem, right? Or Jah or Allah, whatever you're into. But for me it was, it came with the rod in it. And like I said, this is the new rod. You can't take the old rod out of the transfer case. The rod's not gonna go bad. It's fine. It's good. And then I'm gonna actually put that rod back in here when I reassemble it because I don't want 2 different pieces. But that is about all I got for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this helps people. I apologize for the unprofessional editing, or lack thereof, really. But you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? You know, you're here, you're looking for information. You've scoured the whole internet. You've looked at all the forums. I know that life. I know what you're doing. It sucks. So, yeah, I'm almost a note to myself. I'm gonna link that dude's video where he shows the transfer case actuator, taking it off, and then I'll try to find the listing on eBay from the Toyota headquarters out in Japan, the mothership where you can buy these. That's the only place you're gonna find them. I searched the internet for months looking for a cheaper one. You can find transfer cases all over the damn place. No transfer case actuators. These things are like gold. No, this one's not for sale. It doesn't work. Otherwise, I would. But I keep it for parts. And this video, which is now done. So thanks so much for tuning in. 26 minutes of your time. I hope it was worth it. And I hope your truck gets fixed. I hope to see some really good news in the YouTube comments. So, yeah, cheers, tally ho, and good luck with your truck.